Luckily, we've got ourselves a little IRL esports we get to talk about now.
I'm excited.
Obviously, one of the goals of this show is to highlight the amazing people and events that happen in the esports competitive gaming space. And every week, we'll try to feature a different personality in that space. And this time, we're going to dive into a unique world of esports law. Go with us on this one. It's going to be good. Like any other industry, laws are there to uphold integrity and make sure everyone is playing fair. Now, as esport grows, and boy has it, so does our need to make sure everything is on the up and up. And we have someone from a law firm that specializes in esports joining us today to discuss a little bit more on the topic. Please welcome Krista Hiner from ESG Law to the show.
There she is. How's it going, Krista?
Hello.
How are you doing?
How you guys doing?
Yeah, great.
Thank you for
I am well.
Yes.
Now, Krista, for those who don't know who you are, give us a little bit of background about yourself.
Sure. Well, my name is Krista Hiner. I'm an esports lawyer with the law firm ESG Law, stands for Electronic Sports and Gaming Law. I personally have practiced law for almost 8 years now. I've been with ESG since August. ESG is the world's first esports only law firm. So I get to combine two of my passions, gaming and esports, with the law, which is super cool. I've been a gamer my whole life, as you can probably guess, since it's one of my passions. So it's really awesome to be able to work in the space in this amazing industry, which is growing like crazy. And like you mentioned, the law is evolving as well. So we are happy to play a role in that industry.
Man, and you're such at the precipice too, right? You've got all these things moving and changing and evolving, to your point. So one of the things that obviously makes ESG stand out is that you guys are the first, or one of the first, or you're certainly at that beginning gate there, law firms to specialize in clients who are specifically from the esports industry. So this industry as a whole is still growing, as you mentioned, and it's good to see companies like yours support it so heavily. Can you describe how ESG Law operates with its clients and who they might be?
There's a lot to unpack here.
Yeah.
First, yes, we are the first esports only law firm. I'm pretty sure we're still the only one. There might be others out there. If there are not yet, there soon will be. But no matter what, we'll always be the first and the best.
Exactly.
Obviously.
I'll jump into the clients first, because I'm sure that's probably going to be the most interesting to your audience. And honestly, pick a major team organization in North America. There's a very good chance that we work with them or have worked with them. A few are Optic, TSM, Cloud9, Team Liquid, Envy, Immortals, Dignitas, a lot of Overwatch teams, Spitfire, Valiant, Gladiators, the list goes on and on. We also work with a lot of broadcast talent, especially in the Overwatch League, and some event organizers as well, such as Beyond the Summit. If anyone's interested in learning more, there's a bigger sampling of our client list on our website at esglaw.com. But as to your other question about how we work with our clients, how we support our clients, we support our clients like any lawyer would any business, because yes, these companies operate in the esports space, but they truly are businesses. So they deal with your traditional issues and matters like business growth and acquisitions and staff, not just esports talent. So we support them in a variety of ways, advising on those matters, as well as handling contracts for talent and other transactional work like sponsorship contracts and things like that. Our clients are all over the country. We have some clients in other countries as well, so we support them from afar, from here in the US. But along that same theme of dealing with clients that are in other countries, we have clients across time zones, but it doesn't matter because esports never sleeps. It's 24/7.
It doesn't. You're right.
And that's why it's evolving so fast. And anybody that's involved in esports loves it, so they never want to take time off. But it's pretty cool. It makes for a very exciting and dynamic workplace, that's for sure. For example, last November, at the start of the free agency period in North America LCS for League of Legends. The free agency period started at midnight. I think it was Pacific time, which is 2 a.m. for me, 3 a.m. for one of our associates who's in New York. So for those few days, we were up until 3, 4 a.m. doing just nothing but player contracts for a couple days. So it's erratic, but it's really exciting to be a part of the industry. And yeah, it never sleeps.
That's brilliant.
Love the excitement and passion. Now, you mentioned that you all have really long days sometimes. I'm interested in what a typical day at ESG Law looks like, if there is even a typical day.
Sure, yeah, in a typical day, I would say the main things that we deal with involve talent contracts. So if we're representing the teams, we're helping them out by drafting and sometimes negotiating specific terms with a player's agent or lawyer, but typically drafting the player contracts, streamer contracts as well. And like I mentioned, these businesses are businesses, so they have other considerations, other staff. Some of them have they're employing writers or people in their accounting departments, administrative assistants, things like that. And we help a lot with those contracts as well. That's a huge part of what we do. Some of the more exciting work that we do for your viewers is buyout agreements. So when teams are trading players with each other, we'll represent one, sometimes both sides of that deal. We also handle a lot of league rule compliance. So through our work, because we do esports only work, we become very familiar with the rule sets that leagues such as Riot, for example, impose on the teams that participate. And any formal league, I mean, we've seen a lot of new leagues start up in the last few years. You have the H1Z1 League, Supercell's Clash Royale League, all sorts of them. They all have their different rule sets. We're really familiar with all of those, so we're able to properly counsel clients on their business decisions and their contracts, how they can and cannot maybe deal with a player trade or something like that in light of that league's specific rule set. And then sponsorship deals and other things like that. But doing each of these things, when we do each of these things, we have to remember that every piece needs to fit into this puzzle, because a league over here might have a term that in their agreement with the team that prohibits a certain type of sponsor or a certain buyout process or certain terms in player contracts. And you have to understand when working on each of those projects, how and if it could potentially impact or shape a move that the team or the organization wants to make over here. So you have to have a really good understanding of how it all fits together, which is complicated, but it's pretty exciting to be a part of, especially since these leagues and rules are all changing so fast as the industry grows.
Absolutely. Okay, so this is one that I'm sure chat will appreciate as well as our viewers in general. Based on your time at ESG Law and your time as an esports fan, what is one piece of advice current and future players should know? Because obviously there's been, as we all know, and in every scene there are bad eggs, bad apples. There's the good and the bad. What are some words of caution for folks out there before they get to someone like yourself?
Okay, so like I mentioned before, we typically represent team organizations, and I'm very proud to say that the clients that we work with are not the bad eggs that you hear about.
Well done.
They really do emphasize positive growth in the industry, and I'm regularly astounded by the thoughtfulness with which these team owners and the people in charge approach the decisions they make, not only from the perspective of how it impacts their players, but also how it affects the ecosystem as a whole. That said, yeah, there are other organizations out there that are not prepared to enter the esports scene, be that because they don't follow through on the promises that they make to the players, whether it's because they can't or because they don't want to or some other reason. Maybe they just simply don't understand the space. So my biggest piece of advice is twofold and probably predictable. One, be cautious about the teams that you work with. I mean, that goes for anybody in any industry with any employer. But two, and this is the predictable advice, please get representation. Having an agent or a lawyer to assist you when you're signing with a team is crucial, especially since a lot of players are so young and not necessarily sophisticated business people. There are plenty of attorneys out there at this time who are trying to get in the space who will probably work with you for free. That said, if you can pay someone, you're probably going to get a more experienced esports attorney or agent who knows the space and can help counsel you and really help guide you in your whole career.
Nice.
So good.
Words to live by.
You all are doing some really essential stuff, and that's some really great advice. Now, we have our favorite question on this show, and that is, if you could tell skeptical people one thing to know about esports or competitive gaming in general, or why they should get into it, what would it be?
Boy, you know, there are so many things
Right.
you could say. I've made so many arguments to my family throughout the
Right, exactly.
Yeah, I was gonna say we're gonna have you, Krista. We'll have you put your fan hat back on there.
I know, to try to, explain to people that are not familiar with the space why this is such an important industry and why what's happening is so exciting and cool and should be embraced. So yeah, we could talk about how esports events sell out major stadiums like the Staples Center in an hour, or how we have all these high profile investors like Robert Kraft and so. Or how if skeptics could just get past the fact that esports has the word sports in the title and focus on the potential of this amazing industry. Why does everybody do that? I don't know. But I would say one of my favorite points to make recently is esports really creates a space for so many people and fans who otherwise don't really have a community, something to be a part of. And whether we're talking about cord cutters that don't have the means to watch traditional sports, or that subset of gamers who have been outcasts because of the stigma associated with gaming, esports gives these people a space, and that's really special. It's also, from a business person standpoint, a huge demographic. But I think that's what makes esports so unique as a business, and I think that's really special. And then, of course, if you enter the space and you become a successful streamer, you might be able to stream with Drake. So.
And then, you know what? If all roads could lead to Drake and Fortnite, I think we'd all be better off.
A lot better off.
That's what we're all going about anyway.
Obviously. Now, I will say, Krista, a huge thank you. The chat is going wild here. They are loving this, and you have some really great points. And more importantly, where can people find you? Give us your deets. Any special shout-outs?
Sure, my deets. You can find me on Twitter at Krista Hiner, KristaHiner. And you can learn more about our law firm at esglaw.com.
And there it is.
There it is.
Krista, thank you so much.
Fantastic.
Appreciate you being on the show. You have a fabulous rest of your day.
Thanks, you too.
Bye.
Bye, Krista. That was so good.
That was so good.
It's so funny because obviously esports is just coming up, but the work that she's doing with her team is so important, especially for a lot of the new players coming in, a lot of new teams. And so, yeah, I think 100% you're going to see more places like ESG Law pop up. And it's going to be great.